over a week, I will be presenting at RVASec, our Richmond, Virginia Security Conference, on a topic that hews very close to a lot of what I've discussed in the history of this channel. And that is that users are not the enemy of IT. The idea was born, I guess, about a year ago, when Microsoft first gave us the ability to begin to evaluate authentication strengths. Not just looking at whether or not a user was coming in with MFA, but was it phish-resistant MFA? And if not, what do we do about it? If you want to see content on a partner's team that you've been invited into, but you're using SMS-backed authentication, it's going to force you to step up, right? If that's not good enough for the receiving tenant. So that was great. And it kind of gave me this thought of, well, wait a minute. If we can evaluate authentication strength, could we then align our core workloads such that while our users may still be resistant to learning about phish-resistant MFA, or MFA at all, we allow them to continue to work with the workloads they require and isolate from them workloads that may be a little bit more sensitive about our business. From that, about 4 or 5 months later, Microsoft introduced this concept of authentication contexts in conditional access policies. And it was super convoluted. To configure it, you had to go and actually establish your contexts. You kind of couldn't do it without reading through a how-to document. There really wasn't a very good how-to document. And then you had to bring that context to bear as part of the core definition of the conditional access policy. So you weren't exactly targeting users, you were now targeting authentication strengths. You weren't targeting groups. It's a little weird. Well, as of yesterday, now generally available, you can directly consume authentication strength. It's now part of the grant section, and it's a separate checkbox, a radio button, from require MFA. It's just a separate one that says require phish-resistant MFA. So this whole concept of what was supposed to be a think piece discussion is now really just a product announcement. And it's kind of wild, right? Because the other part of what I was going to discuss was for those users who are willing to tolerate some level of MFA, but who are not going to bring or purchase, personal devices to manage that, or allow you to install more software on their devices. Also entering general availability in the last month is Authenticator Lite baked into Outlook Mobile. So everything that I was going to talk about next week, and that I will still talk about next week, was all theoretical. It's all now out there in the wild. So it's forced me to do a little bit of a pivot, and instead of talking about how neat it would be if we could, it's now going to be the discussion of we can and we should. Because yes, we still should. Users are still users, right? They view us as the enemy and have done for some time. I even used to make jokes that if I could just disable the user accounts, IT would be so much simpler. We're not hiring people to be IT security experts. And they are right to push back on those demands and say, listen, my job is to do this bit of data manipulation. Your job, as the IT expert, is to protect that process, protect that data. So, I'm looking forward to it. Once the event is finished, I'll see if I can get a video and link it somewhere in this video as well. I'm looking forward to seeing people in person, and hope you'll bring me some good questions. I will go ahead and apologize in advance that it's not going to be super technology agnostic, because it's Microsoft that came to the table with these products. So I guess I get to stay in my lane a little bit. Anyway, anyway, hope to see you there.